Let's get to Richard Windsor, founder of Radio Free Mobile. Richard, this was not billed as a big blockbuster event, and it certainly wasn't one as we take a look at the features that was unveiled yesterday. But what we do have, an upgrade cycle that the market is watching very closely. There are incentives from some of the carriers for more recent purchases of the iPhones to trade in, but also others have been holding on to older phones for a while now, and 5G technology is here. What do you make of the iPhone lineup and the ability of the company to execute on the upgrade cycle?
Well, the actual lineup itself is very much incremental. Slightly better screens, slightly better processors, slightly better cameras. So, if you're owning an iPhone 11 or an iPhone 12, your incentive to upgrade is probably not that strong when you're looking at paying $1,000 or more. However, if you've got a mobile operator turning up, say to you, giving you a very, very good deal because they want to get you onto 5G, then that's a completely another story. And so I think what you will see here is I don't think the 13 is going to drive upgrades on its own merits, but perhaps it will further help stimulate the general upgrade to 5G cycle that we've been seeing that's largely being driven by the operators rather than the actual phones themselves.
Yes, if you look at the new iPhone 13 when it comes to 5G, what you have got 5G antennas and radio components for faster speeds. To what extent do you think the 5G cycle has been a little bit disappointing and perhaps impacted by the pandemic at this point?
I wouldn't necessarily say impacted by the pandemic, although you could argue that the pandemic slowed the rollout of the actual equipment. Overall with 5G, the biggest problem is that when you actually ask someone, okay, what is it good for? They can't really give you a straight answer. And so that's the real problem that it faces in terms of getting people excited to use 5G. From an operator or carrier perspective, the reason the reason they believe is actually that it will cost them a lot less to provide data to these consumers if they're using the 5G network. And that's why they're trying to herd everyone in that general direction.
Richard, Apple is up year to date, I guess, about 14.5% at the moment. And there have been a lot of stories floating around. As you say, the upgrade cycle didn't exactly blow your socks off. But we had this epic win against them. And then we've got the whole South Korean story rolling forward about concerns about anti-competitive behavior. None of this really seems to be touching the sides, though. Any reason to be concerned that this stock is going to lose momentum?
I don't think so. If you look at the way the media in general has painted the Epic versus Apple case, they seem to have drawn the conclusion that actually this was a win for Apple. I would say that it wasn't, because the net position moves into Epic's favor. However, what Epic was really going for was to try and paint Apple as an evil monopolist that must be broken up at all costs. And Eric spectacularly failed to do so. So in terms of the continuation of Apple maintaining control of the App Store, perhaps not payments, control of its ecosystem, keeping it all locked down, that very much is on the cards. And I think that, on net balance, that is probably a net positive for Apple.